Okay, so here we are with the good old Queen 5 off on the button, and I played this hand because I block pocket queens and pocket 5s. No, but seriously, this is one of the tightest games I've ever played in. So my strategy on this night was to constantly bluff and put pressure on my opponents while in later position, because I figured they wouldn't commit their stack without the nuts. Let's see how my strategy on this night played out.
225.
Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm here at 101 Poker Club in Katy, Texas. I'm surprised I haven't been here before. My mom's house is literally 1 minute away, so this is my first time. I'm actually nervous to film. I already talked to management. They said filming is okay, but it's packed in there. I'm kind of nervous, I'm not gonna lie. It's always kind of nervous and exciting playing with new players. It's packed. I'm gonna show you guys some cameo. Probably right now over my voice, y'all gonna see how packed it is. But yeah, it's packed to the brim on a Wednesday, so I'm buying it for $500. It's 1-3. Let's not prolong it any longer. Let's get straight into the poker hands. Okay, now the first hand of the night is a little what would you do in this spot type of hand. I want to start taking you guys into some of my smaller spots to see if my plays are correct. I know I joke a lot about the GTO poker nerds, but in all seriousness, you guys actually help my game. Look, we can all teach each other. I can teach the fish who have little to no clue what they're doing, and the poker nerds can help me. In this hand, I look down at pocket 10s under the gun +1 and I bump it up to $20. The hijack calls the 20 and then the cutoff raises it up to $50. We both make the call. Now let's head 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes ace-6-4 with 2 clubs, and we both check it to the preflop aggressor and the cutoff, and he bets $75. Now I fold, but my question is this. Is this always a fold here first to act with pocket 10s on an ace-high flop? Well, obviously, nothing is ever an always situation, but these players have already been playing tight, so I fold in this spot. Put your thoughts in the comment section below. Next hand.
What? Oh, okay. Big line.
Service on me.
In this hand, I look down at ace-10 off in early position and I bump it up to $15. 3 players make the call. Now let's see a flop 4 ways.
Call. 4 plays.
Same play.
I got Red Bull.
Yes.
The flop comes ace-queen-9 rainbow, and when the action gets checked to me, I bet $30 on this flop. Only the button makes the call. Now let's see a turn card heads up.
Heads up.
Can't see your chips.
With that.
The turn comes the 10 of diamond, so I turn 2 pair, and now I know I have the best hand. I ask to see my opponent's chip stack to see how many chips he has behind, and when he moves his arms, I notice that he has around $140 behind. Now even though I'm sure I have the best hand as of right now, I decide to check this turn card to make my river jam look a little bit more bluffy. As long as I don't see a jack or king on the river, then I'm going all in. So I check and my opponent checks back. Now let's see the river.
Bet. All in. 2 bet. Aces and 10.
So the river is the 9 of spades, and everything goes to plan when I jam all in and my opponent calls it off with a worse 2 pair. When he showed aces and 9s with a jack and I take this one down. And I know this is random, but what you guys just saw me do is one of my least favorite things about being a poker blogger. I mean, I just took this stranger's money and now I'm forced to pick up my phone and record the poker table for the vlog. I just hate that part of the job. I know he's probably thinking, man, fuck this guy. I don't know, it just feels cringe to me. The things I do to get you guys content. But anyway, let's get to the next hand. Now this next hand was one of the many crazy hands from my Meetup game last week. It was so much fun playing with my subscribers from all over the world. I do this every week on Poker Bros, and my next Meetup game is actually tomorrow, which is Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time. So pull up if you missed last week. We were all on Discord having a great time, and my face cam was on so my subscribers could see me rage when they got lucky. But let's get into this hand.
Nah, that's aces right there, baby. You know what it looks like.
No aces, man.
Oh, yeah, bullshit.
I look down at ace queen of spades under the gun +1, and this rat Jordan has been going all in every other hand all night. So my plan in this hand is to limp re-raise. Now let's see how the rest of this hand played out.
Alright.
V-pip,
Valdez,
V-pip.
don't ever limp in my pot again. Every time Valdez limps, I'm making it 15.
Bro, come on, my V-pip on life support, bro.
I don't give a fuck. You like to call 15 then.
My V-pip's on life support, he said.
Fuck this guy.
Damn, you want to rumble, baby? Let's rumble, baby.
Oh, no! Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
You want to
Fuck! Rip it! Suck my dick!
Oh, yeah.
Fuck!
One down. Oh, that's
Spade!
That's a good board.
Ace,
like
spade, queen, fuck! So lucky, bro. How does he have kings there?
Parking lot hand.
How does he have kings there? Can somebody please explain how does he have kings
Cause
there?
I'm a fucking beast. It
Oh
was
my
never put
God,
me on the
bro.
hand, bro.
So lucky, bro. So you guys just saw me lose nearly 200 because the biggest whale at the table actually woke up with pocket kings. If you guys want to play with me tomorrow or any other day, make sure you download the Poker Bros app using the link in my description. That link will automatically place you in both of the clubs that I play in, home of all the rats and whales who play so bad. But anyway, be sure to join my Discord as well as Suited Up's Discord, and we'll have one of the managers get you loaded up and help you with any other questions that you may have. I hope to play with you guys soon. Next hand.
Gotta get it back doing this.
Mom. Where's that?
You gonna give me some pictures?
The next hand is a double board bomb pot, which is done here at 101 every dealer change. Now here, they do $10 double board bomb pots, as opposed to $5 like every other place I played. I like that, I'm not gonna lie. Well, in this hand, I look down at Queen Jack 9-5 with Queen High clubs. Now let's see two flops.
No, minute's home, yeah?
Who's gonna win, Danny?
Shit, I care tomorrow.
So I flop a pair of fives on the top and trip fives on the bottom. And I don't think I'm quite strong enough on either board to bet. So I check. The action gets checked all the way around. Now let's see two turn cards. Neither turn card really improves my hand, so I check, and the player to my left immediately bets $45. Four of us make the call. Now let's go 5 ways to the river. Let's see if I can boat up on the bottom.
Yeah, brother, thank you.
I don't improve on either board, so I check, and it gets checked to the cutoff, and he bets $100. I fold, and the two players to my left both call. The player to my immediate left lost, and his money got chopped when the two other players showed a boat on the top and a straight on the bottom. I'm glad I only lost $55 in his hand. Poker is all about losing the minimum while making the maximum. Don't fall for the double board Omaha trap. Next hand. Now in this next hand, I look down at Queen 5 off on the button, and I realized early on that I have to adjust my playing style a bit if I want to make money here. I'm currently stuck about $300, and this table is full of nits, and I realize that I can't out-nit these nits. So it's time to start opening my range in later position and putting pressure on these players after the pot has been built. I check my $6 button straddle here with Queen 5 off. Now let's see a flop 7 ways. The flop comes Queen, Jack, Deuce with 2 spades, so I flop top pair, and Larry leads on this board for $30. Now when Larry leads on this board, I'm 1000% sure that he has a better hand than me. Larry is an older man who is a very passive player. He was consistently limping hands like ace-king preflop, and he rarely bet his own hand. So when he leads here on this flop first to act, I know that I'm behind him at the very least. But 3 other players made the call, and I have top pair on the button. So let's see if I can somehow improve or get creative and try to win this pot another way. 5 ways to the turn. So the turn is the 4 of hearts, so I'm stuck with this garbage top pair, and Larry leads on this turn card yet again for $50. Now when 2 players made the call, I figured that I was ahead of both of them. I just had to get Larry to fold his ace queen or king queen. I put one of the other players on a flush draw, and the other one on some kind of jack. So when the action got back to me, I decided to raise to $225, turning my top pair into a bluff. Now you wouldn't catch me dead or alive doing this at the Hangar Poker House, because there, everyone would still call and we would all go to the river for $225 like one big happy degenerate poker family. But here at 101, I decided to turn up the pressure with this raise and just pray that the best hand folds, which is Larry. And then try to fade whatever draws the other 2 players are on the river. Let's see what happens.
Give me $7.
I knew it, but he bit me.
So I was trying to get him off of.
Good bet.
Thank you, sir.
Good bet. Got you the winner. Got me off.
That's the only way I can win.
That's true.
I should have win.
So everyone folded to my raise except for the cutoff to my right when he put his last $32 in and bricked his flush draw. So we took this one down, and then Larry told me good bet and that he had a better hand than me. I told him thank you and that I knew that that was the only way that I could win the pot. I'm happy with how I played this hand. Now let's get to the very next hand.
Thank you.
In the very next hand of the night, I decided to keep the queen of hearts and give that garbage 5 back when I looked down at pocket queens in late position and raised it up to $25. Let's head 3 ways to the flop. An ace high flop when I have pocket queens? Now that's just great. Middle position leads on this flop and I decide to just call, and so does the small blind. Let's head to the turn. Check. The turn gets checked around, and when the river brings a one-liner to a straight, the small blind leaves for $125. Now when middle position folds, I decide to fold as well because these players are tight and haven't bluffed since Ronald Reagan was in office. I'll take this $40 loss. Let's get to the next one. Now almost every session, I have that one hand when on the drive home, I be thinking, now why did I do that dumbass shit? Well, on this night, this was that hand for me. In this hand, I looked down at 7-5 of diamonds and limped the $6 button straddle. Larry to my left decides to raise it up to $13. 2 players make the call, including myself, and we had 4 ways to the flop.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The flop comes 6-4-9 with 2 spades, so I flop an open-ended straight draw and I decide to check it over to Larry. He bets $50. The button makes the call, and I make the call as well, but this is a clear fold. A lot of my straight outs are dead if one of these players has a flush draw. I just shouldn't be chasing a straight in this game with a flush draw out there on this table, because winning chips is already hard enough. But I call anyway, and we head 3 ways to the turn. The turn comes the deuce of clubs, so I miss, like I'm mostly gonna do here open-ended, and I decide to check it over to Larry, and he bets $75. The button calls again, and so do I. Let's see if I can get bailed out on the river. The river comes the 10 of spades, so I brick, and I consider bluffing, but I've already turned over some hands showing myself getting out of line tonight, and I don't think Larry would be in the mood to fold his overpair. So when I check, and Larry bets $75 again, the button folds, and I fold as well. That was a masterclass on how to waste an unnecessary $138. You're welcome. Next hand.
Oh shit.
In the next hand, I'm still sticking to my new strategy on this night, which was to open my raising range and lay position. In this hand, I look down at 9-8 off in the cutoff and I decide to raise it up to $15. 3 players make the call, 4 ways to the flop.
Servicio? There's 4 players. Servicio.
The flop comes 9-9-3 rainbow, so I flop trips here with my 9-8. And when it's checked to me, I decide to bet $25 on this flop. Please, I hope nobody gives me credit for a 9 here. Only one player makes the call, heads up to the turn. I cannot say to the turn to save my life, god damn it. The turn comes the ace of diamonds, and when my opponent checks it over to me, I decide to bet again here for $50. He unfortunately makes the fold, so no more action for us on this hand. Let's get to the next one. Wait till it die down, Larry, I'll tell you.
Hey, what was that? What? See what was on that? 993 and some more.
He had ace jack? Damn, I should have checked that flop. Okay, this next hand is a fun one that has an ending that rarely happens on my vlog, so I'm going to need you guys' help in the comment section after this one. I look down at queen 9 off in middle position and I limp the $3 big blind. At this point of the night, I'm playing any 2 cards that are semi-connected. Suited, unsuited, it doesn't matter. New strategy, remember? Well, anyway, it gets back to the big blind and he raises it up to $12. I make the call along with 2 other players and we head 4 ways to the flop. The flop comes king jack 7 with 2 spades, so I flop a gutter ball to the straight. The action gets checked around. Now let's head to the turn. To the turn.
Bottom of the net.
Oh my god.
The turn comes the 10 of spades, so I turn the straight, and the preflop aggressor bets $50 on his turn card. When it gets to me, I consider just calling, but I have the queen of spades, which is a card that's gonna block so many of his strong hands that beat me, like flushes and the higher straight of ace queen. So I decide to bump it up right away to $125. He makes the call, and now it's heads up to the river.
Call. Who won it?
The river is a blank, and my opponent leads on this river for $200 with only $303 left in his hand. And as I'm taking a while to play back the hand in my head, I remembered that he was the preflop aggressor, so he could easily have a suited hand for a flush or a hand like ace queen for a better straight. Plus, a lead on this river is super strong, and the only hand that I'm beating that he's betting for value is 8-9. Guys, this was a solid tank. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to be exact. And if you watch my vlogs, then you know that this is a spot that I normally call. But this time, I decided to lay down the straight and fold. I'm not the type of player that asks players to show their hand for the vlog, so we'll never know for sure. But what do you guys think? Good fold or bad fold? Put it in the comment section below. Let's get to the next hand.
Want me to show your card?
I don't care.
Okay.
What's the other popular song? Love Shack, right? Take it off.
In the next hand, I look down at Ace Jack of Hearts in middle position, and there's been a raise to $15 and a call. I 3-bet to $50 and one player makes a call and the other folds. Let's see a flop heads up.
Heads up.
The flop comes 4-4-8 with 2 diamonds, so I flop ace high with 2 overs, and when it gets checked to me, I decide to bet 1/3 of the pot here for $40, as I would with most of my holdings, especially here in position. My opponent is going to miss this flop so often, and I'm also going to still be ahead of so many of his holdings, but he makes the call, so we're off to the turn.
Dude, 2-1 all the way to the 8. Bottom of the 8. You're impressing me because I'm missing 3 runs.
Now the turn is the Jack of Diamonds, so I turn top pair, and my opponent leads on this turn card for $10. Yes, you heard that correctly, $10. I look at the dealer in confusion, and then I look at my opponent and start to think. Now sometimes, players lead very small on the turn to induce a raise, but this could also be a blocker bet, so he can see a cheap river. I eventually decide that I can't allow the blocker bet to work if that's what he's doing, so I decide to raise anyway to $75. If he actually led the turn small with an actual strong hand, then his plan worked.
So I'm gonna $40.
No problem.
I'm taking my
Tomorrow, man, dollars.
No.
He ended up folding to my raise, so that indeed was a blocker bet, and we take this one down. It's time to get to one of my favorite hands of the night. Next hand.
No, we order lunch.
In the next hand, I look down at pocket threes with the $6 straddle on my button. Shout out to Tanner with the red shirt. He watches the vlog, and I appreciate him for that. Well, Tanner comes back from a break, looks down at his cards, and he raises it up to $35. Now, Tanner was probably the tightest player at the table, and he was also a proud member of the Neat Chip Stack gang. For those of you that watch my vlogs, you already know that I've been correct to believe that everyone who has a perfectly stacked chip stack at the poker table is a nit. And my guy Tanner has once again proved my theory correct. Well, anyway, I have a pocket pair on the button, and it's my straddle, so I'm not folding. I was the only caller, so it's heads up to the flop.
Eight in the side. The even. Not me, him. He flopped the pot.
The flop comes Queen 7-8 Rainbow, and Tanner bets $30 for a pretty standard C-bet sizing. Now obviously, I have nothing here with pocket threes, but this board is going to favor my range more than his because he was the pre-flop aggressor, and I just called his raise on the button pre-flop. So I call here with my under pair to the board, not trying to make a hand, but I have some evil intentions for future streets. Let's see a turn.
45.
The turn comes the 9 of diamonds, and Tanner bets $45 on this turn card. And now I know it's time to start telling my story of having a strong hand right now. I'm going to have way more hands in this spot, like pocket 8s and pocket 7s, than my opponent. And I'm really the only person that can have the nuts for Jack 10 in this spot. Tanner's not raising under the gun for $35 with Jack 10. I don't care if it's suited or not. He's not doing it. So I realized that the strongest hand that Tanner could possibly have in this spot is a hand like Ace Queen. So I looked at his stack and decided to raise to $150. I picked this sizing to set up a river jam because he had a little over $300 behind left in his stack. So if he calls this turn bet, I'm sticking to my story and jamming all in on the river. Let's see what he does.
I'll have.
How are you, man? Yeah, I'll take my wife and
Take your time.
Aloha, man.
Good fold, Tanner. Good
I'm
fold.
gonna follow you, man.
You're gonna scroll. Hey, you're gonna scroll what time?
I had
I'm
it.
gonna follow you. But don't say, hey, stupid Hawaiian boy. Man, it's that.
I look like a dipshit.
Tanner ended up making the fold and showing the 10 of diamonds. When he flipped over that card, it really scared the shit out of me for some reason, even though the hand was over, because that card was supposed to be in my hand. I then told Tanner good fold and that I had it. Now hear me out. It was a good fold if he didn't want to play for his whole stack with pocket 10s, and I did have it. It being the biggest cojones. Let's get to the last interesting hand of the night. For the last interesting hand of the night, I look down at ace 10 off in late position and I raise it up to $30. Two players make the call. Let's see a flop. The flop comes Ace Jack 3 Rainbow, and I decide to c-bet on this board for $45. Only the button makes the call. Let's go to the turn, heads up. The turn is the Queen of Hearts, and I check along with my opponent. Let's see a river. The river comes the 7 of hearts, and I think about checking, but I end up deciding to go for thin value on this river and bet $75. I think that my opponent would have bet ace queen and ace jack by now, and the turn got checked through. The only other one pair ace that I lose to is ace king, and he most likely would have re-raised with that hand on the button pre-flop. Let's see if my plan to go for thin value on this river worked out. It turns out that I had my opponent upticked by 1 when he made the call and turned over ace 9 for a smaller top pair. So the $75 bet on the river actually worked out. That was my last interesting hand of the night. Now let's go cash out and see how we did. Thank you.
There you go. Have a good night.
You too. And just like that, we're out. We were in for $800. We were out for $1,051. How that turned into a winning session, I'm not sure, to be honest. If I could take back one hand, of course I would take back the 7-5 of diamonds. What am I doing? Like, that's something I was doing like 5 years ago. I'm calling for I'm calling open-ended with it's 2 spades already on the board, so those outs are probably already dead. I wish I can get that $125 back or whatever it was, but it ain't coming back. But we had a profit of $250. Like I said, on that one hand, I gave away $125. So that should show y'all how that type of stuff adds up. I want to shout out again to Brew Poker. He told me it was a bunch of nits at 101. God, it's a bunch of nits at 101. But I was able to take advantage of how tight they play, and I was bluffing a lot in late position. And that one hand when I had queen 5 off, I knew the guy to my left had a better queen, but I knew the other 2 guys was on draw. So Larry, it was an older guy named Larry, he was very passive. So I'm sure if he fold, then I saw the short stack, he had only about $30 left. And I felt that was a good spot to get the best hand to fold and take that pot down. So that hand worked out. The bluff on Tanner with pocket threes, I mean, I'm in position. I'm gonna have Jack 10 there a million more times than he is. I'm surprised when he flipped over a 10, my heart stopped. I'm like, damn, how does he even have a 10? Because Tanner was playing super tight. But shout out to Tanner for watching the channel. I wanna thank you for watching the channel. He said he plays at Doghouse all the time, so I gotta go back to Doghouse soon, man. Out of everywhere I've been, their custom Doghouse, golly, I don't know, they got some great customer service at Doghouse. Even though it's a bunch of nits over there. Y'all remember that joke. But even though it's a bunch of nits at Doghouse, and that's ironic because Tanner from Doghouse, Tanner was kind of a nit too. But anyway, yeah, I got to get back to Doghouse. But yeah, all in all, my experience at one-on-one poker was good. I've been enjoying my little poker tour or whatever you want to call it. It's been fun moving around different places of the city and playing. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for always commenting, and subscribing, and even those of you who shared the channel. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. You're the GOAT.
Wait. Now, Valdez, what the hell are you doing? I know you be tired as hell doing these outros, but you're giving me little to nothing to work with. You just yawned mid-outro and you didn't even redo the damn take so I can have something else to work with. Damn, man, get it together.
But until next time, y'all take care.